Especially relieved that a SALT deduction compromise was able to be reached. I want to hear, what do you say to the naysayers? The little old lady standing outside of the Tesla dealership that I saw again on my way in saying, you know, this and that about Trump, that they're so upset because they've been brainwashed by that fake news spin that somehow Medicare benefits will be cut and that there is like bad things happening in this bill. What do you say to those people?
Well, first of all, you say shame on Schumer and shame on all the other Democrat leaders that's peddling this flat-out lie. We are not cutting anyone's benefits for Medicaid. The president has made it very clear. He was very blunt and actually used some very straight language of saying we're not touching Medicaid. What we're doing is we're kicking people off of Medicaid that never qualified, even underneath the Biden administration. You know, it's interesting, when we got into office and President Trump started putting his directors, his administrators, and his secretaries in place, we started going to these places and auditing them, figuring out that no one had even been in the offices for the most part for 2, 3, and even 4 years. One thing we noticed on Medicaid is not one single person had been denied coverage underneath the Biden administration for 4 years. That means they wasn't even checking it. When we just did a quick audit underneath current policy that the Biden administration was operating under, 6 million people on the first look at it through DOGE didn't qualify, meaning that they were healthy individuals, males, no dependents, and single that were on the Medicaid system that shouldn't have been there, or they were flat out illegal immigrants. 1.5 million were illegal immigrants. What we're doing in Medicaid is we're cleaning out the waste and fraud, and so it can be there for those individuals that it was intended for, those that actually need help, not ones that are gaining the system. And the Democrats, they'd rather lie than tell the truth.
Yeah, we're talking about tax cuts, deep spending reductions, increased border funding, stricter requirements for federal aid programs. So more money goes into the pocket of hardworking Americans. So how can anyone be against this?
Well, you know what, the Democrats, once again, they're peddling this lie, right, that it's a tax cut for the billionaires. The fact is, it's a tax cut for every American. 60% of the American population will receive a tax cut. Actually, what will happen is their taxes just won't go up, because right now all we've done is kept the current tax policy in place. If we did nothing, if we did absolutely nothing, Lydia, every American household would increase by an average of $1,400 a year in taxes. Because we were able to lock this and make it a permanent tax cut instead of letting it expire, we're going to save all the American taxpayer dollars from coming to Washington, D.C. and being spent wastefully. At the same time, President Trump has kept his promises. Promises made, promises kept. He is no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. And by the way, now for those that want to work hard and actually make overtime, they're going to be rewarded for that. No tax on overtime. That is perfect. Now, how can you say that that's a tax cut for the billionaires and millionaires? It's a lie. And that's what the Democrats have resorted to, is a flat-out lie. It's not a mistruth. It's a lie.
Right, and you got AOC, Bernie Sanders flying around in their private jets or in first class, fight the oligarchy, and they're the millionaires. It's unbelievable. Senator Mark Wayne Mullin.
But they're also socialists. Remember, they claim to be a socialist in a socialist society.
Champagne socialists.
I'm right and you're wrong.
Senator, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, sir.
Lydia, thanks for having me on.
Great work. All right.